Hey, what's up? I'm just gonna give an update. All right. So, if you don't know, I'm constantly grabbing data from Reddit and then making it available to people to search. And the table that data is dumped into is this table called submissions. And I frequently trim that table. If I hit this backup submissions button, then it will cut anything older than a day old and then put it into submissions history. Now, the goal is for submissions history to be searchable by everybody, but as of right now, that's a slow search, and I don't want that running quite yet. Um, but you can come in and you can kind of just look at what has been gathered. So over the past, well, we have submissions from at least 24 hours ago. We can, look at these a little bit older ones. And the reason why it has this curve is because um, what you're not seeing is the constant gathering of this process because I've deleted stuff, right? So, for example, let me just delete literally everything. And it's going to back up into this submissions history table. But here in a moment, we'll look and everything in this table will be gone. Here we'll cut it down to over the past hour and then every 15 seconds. But as you can see, it's begun to grab that data over and over. Now, this will update here in a little bit. I think it's updating like every 10 minutes or something. So, anyways, what's kind of fun though is that so right now we're pulling, 100. Actually, let's do this. Um, so if you look over here, um, it'll let's do tail. There we go. All right, so here's data that we just pulled, just a second ago, and it's just constantly doing that, just pulling data, pulling data, pulling data. But we go to our all, right, and then we say, okay, well, pull 100 submissions. Now we have 100 submissions from maybe up to 100 different subreddits, right? So we can take the name of each of those subreddits now and then go and pull 100 submissions from those subreddits, right? So whenever I push this button here, you'll see that we toggle, and I'll just restart it here. Yeah. Now, for every 100 that we pull from our all, we then go and grab 100 of the prior submissions from each of those other subreddits. And what that will do is that will update this plot here in a second, and it will look a little bit more filled out because we're starting to pull some historical data. A subreddit may have, the last 100 posts happen within the past hour, or it could be one that has very low activity and only gets post every couple days or every month or something, right? So pulling the last 100 kind of looks like this, because pulling the last 100 subreddits 100 posts kind of looks like this, right? Because the posts that are or the subreddits that are more frequently frequented are more likely to show up, and so you're more likely to pick them up. But then every so often you'll pick up a less common subreddit, right? So anyway, so I'm going to turn that off, and because that takes time, right, out of grabbing the last 100 from Reddit. So if you uncheck that, now we're just grabbing 100, grabbing 100, grabbing 100, grabbing 100, right? Just grabbing as much as we can in real time. Um, so yeah, so now, if we look back over like, I don't know, like 12 hours, right? There's probably a bit of information. And oh, let's look at let's do 48. Right. Yeah, right. So this is over the past 2 days, the information that we've just pulled in. Now, the other part of this is if I do this backup submissions, it snips everything older than a day old and then throws it into submissions history, which I'm working on getting available to anyone else who wants to have access to it. Um, so, the fun stuff. All right. So you can pull subreddits, or you could pull authors, and they will dump into this table, which is then searchable, right? So right now we're searching for Russia within the subreddits that we've just, or the submissions that we just pulled, right? And we get a date range here that's updated by the data. We can see where, Russia has been mentioned um, within the titles of submissions, right? We can search title, we can search authors, subreddits, right? So if we clicked on subreddit here, and then we said Ukraine, um, these would be all of the um, right here. So there's 3 subreddits. Query table is a table of the results of your query. So these are the 3 subreddits, right? You can see over here. It's all kind of connected. All domains. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what? Yeah, yeah. But what's kind of fun here, right, is let's do something. Let's search the historical table. I'm admin, so I have access to that. And then let's search title for Ukraine, and then we'll search. And this might take a minute. And if you see over here, you can put in subreddit names on this side, and then click pull, and then it will pull the information from those subreddits and then dump them into this database that you can then query, or authors, right? So if you find an author name, you can put that author name in here and then click on pull, and then it will dump it into this database, which you can then query, right? And there's just a lot of summarization of this data that I think is going to be really interesting to be able to see. So anyway, so this is the reason why currently submissions history is not accessible to anyone else. Okay, so but you can always search what's in the database. So you can like query, you can pull, and then search that with this query panel. All right, so here we had 97,000 different submissions across 26,000 authors and about 9,000 subreddits. So let's subset the data a little bit more. So we can back out here, 2022, March, and then let's go to like recent time, right? And so for all of the URLs that were posted with Ukraine in the title on Reddit over this period of time that we pulled, these were kind of like the most common, right? And we can update the date range here so that we're actually like looking at what's popular over that date range based on your query. And you can download the data here too, right? So if you click download, then you'd get this entire table. But the tables in here are all running server side, so like you can see all of the different subreddits, right? So if you had this and then you wanted to see all of the whatever subreddit names, right, you could find those in here. But yeah, so I don't know what was happening on the first day or 2 of March. So these were the posts with Ukraine in the title. Belarusian troops just crossed into the border. So I don't know if that actually happened, right? So, I mean, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I totally believe it. I don't remember Belarus being an invader, just a assist, right? Um, anyways, so when did Russia invades Ukraine? Just what day was it? 20 February. Well, no. 24 February. Okay. So 23 to the 25th. Russia officially declares war on Ukraine. Yeah, so like you can kind of filter down to a region of time, which I think is kind of interesting with this date range. Browse just gives it to you descending, right? So it's kind of like being on Reddit. And then domain, this is going to take a second, but what this does is it goes to every single domain found within your query, and then figures out the location that domain is hosted from. So, for example, you can see which posts were coming from India or China or Russia or whatever, right? So, like here, um, Japan, Russia. So we have this link from Russia that was posted, and since we've got our query table here, we could also just look it up. cprf.ru. So in Conservative Socialist and America's Socialist subreddits, information from a Russian server was being posted. So who's Moon 4503, right? So we can come over here and we can say Moon 4503, and then who is this other one? Yeah. All right. So now we'll pull those two authors, and we'll do that, and then Moon 4503. We'll do authors. Search. So it's going to go pull their histories if they still exist. Okay, so 2 authors, 164 submissions. These would be the locations that they're active in, right? Domain. So these, yeah. So I don't know. I think that there's potential here for something, right? So this domain here, so right, so all of these existed here. So if I'm looking for, this one, or where's this one? Yeah. So this was tn.nova, nova.cv. For public support of Russia's actions expressed on face prison for 1 to 3 years. Like, I don't know. So these two authors look suspicious, right? And I can do that just by kind of like playing around, right? So anyways, I think that there's potential here for interesting stuff. I can do NLP. I could do like some graphs. I can pretty much add whatever I want here because it's just so modular. Everything is super clean. So, anyways, hope that was interesting, and I will talk to you soon. Alrighty, bye.